Okay, ask that again.
Okay, as we were reading about the Constitution and so forth from the Thomas Jefferson document we were just going through, the enterprise and the corporation that had board of directors back then, that what was happening in Virginia and so forth back in those days, today, is the same enterprise that was set up back then still running? Is there a board of directors still in, I don't know, London someplace, still running the show over here in the United States? This is what it's saying, basically, right? Because they haven't changed anything.
No, they haven't changed anything. As a matter of fact, I want to send you a link. We're going to look at some flags.
So the Queen runs the show.
It's never changed. The ones that signed the Declaration, they were all British attorneys.
Yeah.
Most of them. They did it for themselves and their posterity. It was about them. There was no voting rights. Colonists didn't vote on anything. Even after the Constitution was drafted, they didn't vote on anything. It wasn't about everyone. And Washington was not a president of the United States of America. He was the first president of the United States, which also was a designation as president of the United States of America, but he's the first one that held that dual position as president of the United States over the United States of America. I saw John Edwards say this on a program one day when I got up on Sunday morning. I never watched Fox News, and I happened to get up and Fox News is on, and Edwards is on there, and he said, if I'm elected president of the United States, here's what I will do for the United States of America. Most people don't even know they're two different positions. They don't know there's two different entities. They've never seen things like the Emsminger case, which says the United States of America, by contract, gave up all right, title, and interest to the United States. But your question is it the same people all along? All right, I'm going to send you this link. I want you to type it in or click on it.
Okay.
Hold on one second.
Let's see. Okay.
I'm doing a search on East India Company flags. I'm going to send you Wikipedia because East India Company was one of the companies. I mean, there was the Virginia Company, but the East India Company became the strongest. They even did the East India Company Act in Britain in the early 1700s, which said if anything good for the East India Company was good for the crown.
British Raj. Get this thing in here. Oh, United Kingdom. No way. Flags of the East India Company. Looks almost like the United States flag, except you don't have any stars in there. Well, you have the cross.
Mm-hmm. Well, that part where you see the cross.
Mm-hmm.
The part where you see the cross is called the.
Yeah.
It's called that little square on the side. It's called the ensign.
The ensign. What does that mean?
Well, that's a military position, but it is a position on the flag, the ensign. And the ensign is ensign. So the red and white stripes were the East India Company flag. Let me send you another website. You can see more flags as they developed over years, because there were different divisions of the East India Company. You had East India Company Britain, you had East India Company France, the Netherlands. So you can see their flags change over time, but they always have the red and white stripes. Then they started adding the ensign, the blue field. And the reason they did, and I'll go see if I can find it here, there became debates over whether just to use the red and white or whether to use the red, white, and blue, because the red, white, and blue were called the King's colors.
Red, white, and blue were called the King's colors. No way.
Yes.
Well, there it is right there. British flag is, you're right, there is red, white, and blue. I never really noticed that. And that's why the United States flag is red, white, and blue. No way. They had the British flag inside where the stars would be. The stripes still stayed the same. Wow.
I'm sorry, what did you say? That's crazy?
I just, because people don't see that. I mean, I never knew that East India Company flag or the United Kingdom flag was inside of the, where the stars would be on our flag with the stars and stripes. It was inside of that. I never knew that. Of course, I never really looked at the East India Company flag before, but it just looks like the United States flag without the stars. And then the one from 1707 shows the Honorable East India Company ensign with the British Union flag. Man. So that's why the UK, that's why Britain is the bank. Because they're the ones who started this whole thing, and everything's been replicated on Wall Street. Stockholdership and so forth on Wall Street. Companies coming out that have IPOs and so forth. This all began way before they came over here.
Yeah, HBC is just the Hudson Bay Company. You remember HBC Bank and all the problems with that?
Yeah.
It's a corporate game because they run them up and run them down. That doesn't ever cost them anything. They get the shareholders to invest and take all the risk. And then once they make it profitable, they can then crash the company from the inside, sell it off for pennies on the dollar to another corporation that they form, and leave all the shareholders holding the bag.
Yeah.
It's been going on for a long time. I talked about antics, and antic means trickery. If you think they play with the words and all the symbology, all the flags, corporate shell game,
Yeah.
you're seeing it right here just by looking at the flags. And the law of the flag in international law is a very, very important law. Very important. It stipulates jurisdiction. You're out in Navajo territory on the reservation, and you see these other reservations where they actually have put up casinos because they're doing it under the Native Reconciliation Campaign. And once they reconcile, they'll build them the casino. But the tribe is actually consenting to come under U.S. rule and U.S. law, which is why when you look at those casinos, look at any of the post offices there or whatever, they're all flying the United States flag. On the casino, you'll see the actual tribal flag, but you'll see it below the United States flag because that's an order of precedence.
You see that also, like if you go to the tribal headquarters, like over here for the Navajo Nation, it's over in Window Rock on the eastern part of the reservation. When you go to Window Rock, as they call it, the tribal headquarters, where all the politicians make their decisions and so forth, that's the way it is too. The United States flag is flying on top. Underneath that is the Navajo Nation flag, and whatever flags that go below that. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, it all has to do with order of precedent. The law of the flag is very, very powerful. And the red and white were the East India Company's colors. The blue was added because it's the King's colors.